Works for me. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. I love it when a plan comes together. Ah, Spenser. Hello everybody, thank you for joining me today. I do truly appreciate it. And I want to talk a little bit about a book by an author by the name of Robert B. Parker. Ever hear of him? And it's a series of books called the Spenser novels. And growing up, born in the 70s, growing up in the 80s, I was a big fan of a TV series called Spenser for Hire starring Robert Urich. And my favorite character then, and probably still when I watch it again now, probably my favorite character was Hawk. He was one bad dude, bad dude. He was tough as nails. He was cool as a cucumber. He carried a Colt Python like it was just cool, man. A great character, a great series. I really did enjoy it. Spenser was awesome too. But there's a series of books that show was based on. And I've started collecting some of them. I've read some of the books and I really enjoyed it. And I decided I wanted to get signed first edition, first print hardcovers of the early books. Not all of them because there's so many. And so here's just a few of those that I have accumulated here, signed by, squiggled by Robert B. Parker. I'll show you a few here. The Widening Gyre. And this one also, somewhere, this one's signed on the correct page. Robert B. Parker has deceased. So if you want signed Robert Parker books, you're going to have to settle for them being signed, however they're signed, wherever they're signed, on whatever they're signed in, such as that. But naturally, the first book in the series is called The GODWULF Manuscript, and it's a book that I do not have. I have read it. I really enjoyed it. I don't have any kind of good versions of it. So on my bucket list of books, the books what I got to get for my shelves is GODWULF Manuscript, signed first edition, first print hardcover. And I wanted it in a nice condition, and I don't want to pay a lot for this muffler. I don't want to get my pants pulled down over the price. So I haven't found it yet. The deal, the steal, the sale of the century. I haven't found the thing I'm looking for yet. But I did find what's supposed to be in, I don't even got to say it, do I? I did find on eBay what's supposed to be the first edition hardcover, first UK hardcover. And so I bought it, paid what I thought was an okay price for it, and it shipped from the UK like this, and I'm very, very concerned. But, maybe it's good stuff. Maybe it's good news. Maybe I get to show you something that isn't all busted up. Because if there's one thing in this world that I hate, it's books that get busted up from the time I buy them to the time I get them. I just can't tolerate. I can't abide that. The dude cannot abide that. So we'll open up and hope for the best. Maybe there's something I don't know. Wouldn't be the first time. Won't be the last. But inside here, there is a little bit of cardboard wrapped around it. Maybe we're good. But the Spenser series, Spenser is a private investigator, which was very popular type of stuff, even into the 70s, both long before that. Noir, detectives, and stuff like that. Private investigators were a good thing to have a character be, because naturally, a private investigator would be getting into a variety of scrapes and have lots of stories to tell. I mean, you can't, if you're going to have an electrician as your main character, he may have one amazing thing happen to him, big adventure sort of a thing, but he's not going to have one every month or every week or every day. Electrician adventure stories do not a series make when you're looking for something like this. However, a private investigator or a cop or somebody in some form of the military or something like that is more likely to have a lot of stories involving investigations, fights, murders, things like that, things that might make for interesting stories. And so the private investigator was done a lot, and it was done very well by some and also done very poorly by others. And you have a lot of cliches in there. In the Spenser series, it's being that the GODWULF manuscript was written, I think, 1973. It's been around a long time. A lot of the stuff in this series feels cliche, but in 1973 it wasn't quite as cliche, I would venture to guess. So some of the stuff does feel dated, and it is dated because it was written a long time ago. But some of the stuff here, Robert B. Parker may have come up with. And a lot of folks have been inspired by the Spenser series. If you've ever heard of Harry Dresden, Jim Butcher's novels, Harry Dresden, Jim Butcher has said that he is strongly inspired, and he takes a lot from Robert Parker's Spenser series. And here we go. We got a receipt. We got a bit of a bookmark, Book Lovers UK. There we go. And lo and behold, the cardboard and all that stuff seems to have delivered my book, the GODWULF Manuscript, in tippity top shape. And so I'm thinking, what I thought I was buying anyway, was the first, the dust is free, folks. The dust is free, and I dig it. The first UK hardcover, and man, it looks pretty tight for what it is. I mean, that kind of stuff is you expect it. If it ain't there, it's miraculous. But when I open it up, and you got the price, £2.25 net, UK only. Whoops, there it is. I thought you knew. The dust jacket is nice. The book itself is nice. Let me take the dust jacket off real quick. Show you what she looked like all stretched out. Man, with that kind of an age, the packaging worked. And I complain when stuff is not shipped in a box and all that, and stuffed with fluff. But the packaging works. I've had a lot of packages over the years where they wrap something in cardboard to make rigid and bigger so the corners are protected, and then they put it in a padded envelope of some sort. I've had that shipping method work with high frequency over the years. It's just worrisome when you get that envelope and you don't know what it's like inside. Knowing how stuff gets tossed in a truck, piled up here, other stuff gets piled up on top of it. It gets tossed in a crate on a plane and flown over here. All the opportunity, when you see something in an envelope, makes the customer pause and worry some, which is what I did. But a little bit furthermore, you've got a cloth-bound trade edition book. It is Andre Ducht. That's what it says there. That's what it says there. And yeah, it's in English. It's in English. At least it looks like it's in English to me. Andre Ducht, the GODWULF Manuscript, Robert Parker, and first published 1974 by Andre Ducht Limited. Copyright 1973, printed in Great Britain by Lowe and Brydon Printers Limited in Thetford, Norfolk. And there we are. There we are. So the UK hardcover is what I'm expecting, and it looks good. It smells delightful. Smells like an old book ought to smell. And I'm really glad to have this one in the collection. I'm glad that it is in such nice condition. But a little bit about the story. You see, Spenser is, like a lot of folks in stories like this that has become cliche over the years. He's ex-military. He's ex-law enforcement. I think he was highway patrol or something like that. And now he's a private investigator or private detective. And he's been hired by a college to find a very valuable, very important thing, the GODWULF manuscript. He's been hired to find this thing and keep it quiet and all that kind of stuff. And as often happens in a Spenser story, he gets in a little bit too deep with the clients, a little bit too deep with the suspects, a little bit too deep with the mob or the underground elements that might be involved, whether it be drug dealers or whatever the case may be. It never is just go find the book. I'm hunting around, finding a book, getting the book back, handing it over, and getting my pay. It never works out quite like that. It always uncovers a whole lot more mystery, intrigue. Spenser's a amateur boxer. He's tough as nails. He is bad to the bone, and that's something that I've noticed in these books. I kind of like it. You can tell that, at least I'm assuming, that Robert B. Parker has some working knowledge of boxing and interest, because he would describe fight scenes in here, you talking about footwork and positioning and things like that, and angles, and he written like a guy who appreciates boxing and wants to put some of that description into the fight scenes there. Talks about guns and gunplay and such as that. And it's written in 1973, and it is macho. Spenser's a tough guy. He's a good guy. He believes in right and wrong. He believes in helping people and taking care of people, moral and stuff like that. But he's also macho. And so there's loving involved and some of that kind of stuff that you might expect from the era. And hey, whether you like it or not, it's in there. There's sometimes things that, in fact, I think in this book, age. When I read about the age of one of these young ladies, it was like, it felt weird in 2020, whenever I read it. I don't remember, 2020, perhaps, to read that. And but you think in 1973, it was a little bit different, acceptable. Hell, in Europe right now, it's legal in most places in Europe. So while it did shock me at first, I look around the world and many times it's considered okay. But that's a side note there. I truly love the series. I've loved every bit of it. The books are always a little bit brief, quick reads, light reads, and I like that. I like to be able to get in and get out and enjoy myself and not be dragged down too much or forced to think too much or forced to feel the anxiety or the depression or any of that kind of stuff, to have fun reading it. So I really like that series. I really love the genre. Dashiell Hammett's The Maltese Falcon is one of my favorite books I've ever read. The GODWULF Manuscript Spenser Series is like that, only set in the 70s and 80s and I think the 90s. I haven't read any of those books, but anyway, it fits there. It fits very, very well, and I really do truly enjoy it. And I'm gonna try to continue on. I'm gonna try to get the first U.S. hardcover. I'd love to find a signed copy, but anyway, this one's for the shelf. It isn't U.S. It isn't signed. Turns out nice. It's a 1974 edition. The first book of a great series by a great author. And I can think of no more lies to tell, so thank you for your time. I do truly appreciate it. C'est la vie, baby. Doo-doo.
Terrific. The New York Times says it's terrific. It's terrific.